Los Angelinos, as a culture, as people, we're very prideful. So I decided to shine a light on the communities that built this place. Born and Raised is like a love letter to the city that I once grew up in and is now gone. This is what Chris Printup, aka Spanto, the co-founder of Born and Raised, said to the LA Times before he passed away on June 28th. Tragically, he passed away in a car accident, and even though Spanto never saw this shoe officially released, he definitely did LA proud, and it's definitely a contender for Sneaker of the Year. Born and Raised, Nike SB Dunk Low on the turf. Now, the shoe was supposed to release on July 21st for $130. Unfortunately, due to Spanto's passing, the shoe was delayed. So it finally released on September 28th on bornandraised.com or bornxraised.com. That's how you would spell it. And then on October, is it 12th? Maybe October 2nd? I can't remember exactly the date. This shoe is going to release at select retailers, so keep an eye out. I don't believe there's a sneakers release date, at least not yet. And right off the bat, when I saw the shoe in hand, I already knew this was going to be a great shoe. But when I saw this shoe in hand, I nearly cried. That was so beautiful. Just look how good this shoe looks. I like blue. I'm a fan of blue. Not as much as the UNC blue. That color is my favorite on sneakers. But the way the shoe is presented, the execution, the simplicity, but also with a lot of flavor and unique elements to it. Yeah, it's definitely up there as a contender for Sneaker of the Year. I think if we just focus on dunks, this and the Jarritos, I think they're pretty close. I think if I had to choose, I think the Jarritos might edge this one out just by a little bit, but I flip-flop. Like when I look at the shoe more and more, I just appreciate it more. Like the subtle little pink hits and accents on the shoe, just absolutely beautiful. Perfect. And the upper sole of the shoe comes with a white, full grain leather base layer, and the leather on this, it looks and it feels nice. None of this non-SB Dunk leather. Some people might think there's like too much of that grain of the leather coming through, but I think it looks and feels super solid. I like the leather on this shoe. And the blue overlays, it is LA Dodgers blue. It comes in nubuck, and again, this nubuck feels really nice. It's not like that super synthetic nubuck where it almost feels a bit too like fuzzy or furry. Really, I'm impressed with the materials on the leather, on the nubuck. Yeah, and on the swoosh as well as the heel, you'll see this lenticular material. So it's got that kind of holographic aesthetic to it. And actually on the heel, you'll see when you change the angle of the shoe in the Nike, changes to Born. That's similar to the Nike Dunk What the Clot shoes that was released earlier this year. Some people might think it's a little bit gimmicky, but I think on a special release like this one, I think it fits right in. And then on the toe box, you'll see on one shoe, the right shoe specifically, the words one block. And on the left shoe, it says at a time. And then on the booty of the shoe, you can see the words on the turf. That's meant to represent like a more grassroots, one block at a time, on the turf approach. So you see those two phrases everywhere on the shoe. And you see the perforations on the shoe. It's also different than what you would normally expect out of a normal Nike SB Dunk. That is a punk reference according to Spanto. And the tongue, a thicker, more well-padded tongue compared to a non-SB Dunk. And on this tongue, it is Born and Raised branding. So you'll see Born SB on the tongue instead of Nike. And then right under the logo, you'll see one block at a time in that pink color. Absolutely beautiful. Just, the execution on this shoe is just perfect. And the tag on the top of the tongue is in the only place where it's branded. You'll see on the inside of the tongue the words, again, just like the booty, on the turf, with a pink Born SB logo underneath. And then on the heel of the shoe, you'll also see that special graphic. That is actually a capital head in Venice, Los Angeles. And then on the insole of the shoe, again, more storytelling, Born SB. And then the graphic is meant to represent Venice Pavilion. Now, I've never been to that place, but if you search images of Venice Pavilion, you'll see the resemblance. You'll see the storytelling just come through on the insole of the shoe. And the Nike SB Dunk does come with a Zoom Air unit on the heel, as well as this beautiful rubber outsole. The traction of the outsole, slightly different than a non-SB Dunk. And just look at that outsole, that translucent outsole where you can see Born SB, the Nike swoosh underneath, that little pink Nike SB on the cutout. It's just used so perfectly. I just love the look of this outsole. And thank God this midsole, it is white. Just a white midsole goes perfectly well with the white leather base layer. Thank God. If they came with a sale midsole for the shoe, I would have lost it. I would have absolutely lost it. And then on the lace tips, again, more storytelling. You'll see Born and Raised. But then on the laces itself, you'll see the words in loving memory. That was actually a tribute to his late father who passed away. And speaking of laces, this shoe comes with 3 extra set of laces. So one is just another set of white laces, and that same kind of thicker, fatter aesthetic that comes with all Nike SB Dunks. And then the second set is this very unique pink set of laces with this bandana pattern all over it. Now I really love how unique that set of laces are. And then the third set, it is a flat set of white laces. However, the way this shoe comes out the box, I'm not messing with it. The pink hits and accents on this shoe I think are just perfect. It gives the shoe like an extra dimension. It's not too much pink for it to be like too loud. So I think the default blue laces that go with the shoe, that come right out the box, I'm gonna go with that. Blue default laces, nice and simple. Yeah, just such a beautiful shoe. And I really appreciate they give you so many different options with one very unique set of laces. And the box of the shoe, a pretty standard Nike SB box, nothing too special. That's probably the only thing I would nitpick about this shoe. If they came with like a super LA themed box with like Born and Raised branding, whew, that would have been crazy. Now moving on to size and comfort, I'm a size 9.5 true to size. I do have wide feet. For Nike Dunks, non-SB or SBs, I usually just go true to size, and it fits pretty well in terms of length. It's like perfect. Sometimes the toe box area might be a little tight, right, when you unbox the shoe, but when you break it in, fits pretty well. So if you don't have wide feet, or if you have wide feet, I do just recommend staying true to size. Now in terms of comfort, because of that extra padding, I do think it's slightly more comfortable, especially with the Zoom Air on the heel. That is a pretty noticeable and distinguishable difference between the non-SB and SB Dunks. So I do like that. But overall, in a vacuum, I think there's a lot more comfortable shoes out there, just for my feet anyway. I know everyone's different when it comes to comfort. Overall, it's a comfortable shoe, not the most comfortable, but definitely not at the bottom of the barrel where the Air Force Ones live in terms of comfort. Now, in terms of using SB Dunks to skateboard, I've never skateboarded in my life, so I can't comment on like the performance of the shoe when you go skateboarding, so I'll leave that up to the experts. I'm not even gonna touch that aspect of an SB Dunk. And that brings the total sole score for the Born and Raised Nike SB Dunk Low on the turf to 23 out of 25, the highest score that I've ever given a collaboration. And how could it not be? This shoe is nearly perfect in every metric. So first up, it is colorway, and the colorways, for me, no complaints. I think it's a perfect colorway with these subtle hints of pink throughout, with the white base layer and the blue overlays. There's literally not a single thing I would change. In terms of materials, honestly, I really like the leather base layer. I really like the nubuck overlays. I like the lenticular swoosh as well as the heel. Yeah, there's nothing I would change about the materials on the shoe. I think it's really well done, especially at a retail price of $130. I think it comes with great materials. In terms of comfort, like I said before, I think the SB Dunks are comfortable. Generally, I can wear them for a whole day. The padding is better than a non-SB Dunk, but if I had to choose the most comfortable shoe, this definitely wouldn't be at the top, but overall, still a comfortable shoe. In terms of versatility, doesn't really get much more versatile than this. I think this is a super versatile shoe. Whether you're a skateboarder, whether you're not a skateboarder, the Nike SB Dunk is a super versatile silhouette. It's timeless, classic, it's gonna live on forever, and I think the colors on the shoe, super wearable. A predominantly white sneaker with a pretty standard color like this LA Dodgers blue doesn't really get much better than that. And again, I mentioned the little hints and accents of pink. I think if there was more pink, or if this shoe was like 50% pink, it would decrease the versatility of the shoe. Might be too loud for some people. But this, the execution, perfect. And in terms of storytelling, this shoe really shines. Just everywhere on the shoe, you can see some type of storytelling. From the tongue, to the graphics, to the insoles, to the lace tips, to the laces itself, to the toe box. If I had to complain about one thing in terms of storytelling, maybe they could have came with like a super unique box, but I would just be nitpicking because the storytelling on the shoe itself, again, I use this word many times in this video, flawless. People care about legacy because legacy lives on. Now, I'm not from LA. I've never been to LA. Actually, I have been when I was 2 years old. At least that's what my parents told me because I can't remember it. But for all intents and purposes, I've never been to LA. So I don't know the actual impact that he had on his community. But from everything I've read, everything I've heard, everything I've seen on YouTube, his interviews, and people talking about him, Spanto really did represent the city very well. And with this shoe, his legacy definitely lives on. So that's it. Thanks for watching Sole Inclined. Let me know what you think of the Born and Raised Nike SB Dunk Low. Like, subscribe, comment, all the good stuff. And remember, tomorrow may never come, so wear your shoes.